first, we would like to personally acknowledge the efforts of a few people that helped make this program possible. First, I'd like to acknowledge Ken Hale and Jim Fossone, also the volunteers from both chambers, the Livonia and Westland chambers, who helped staff this event, and Sue Giffen and the crew here at Burton Manor for their fine hospitality today. Please help us acknowledge them.
At this time, we'd ask everyone to please silence their cell phones or just flat out turn them off. Yeah. Woo. Well, if it's a cool song, we'll think about it. If you are interested in asking any questions of Mayor Bing when he is done, please ask Dan or just look at Dan or myself, and we'll come by with the portable microphone. Next, we'd like to hear from the leaders of our community served by our chambers. First here is Deputy Mayor Jade Smith from the City of Westland.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to Burton Manor in the beautiful city of Livonia. There's my little plug for you, Mayor Kirksey. It is truly an honor to be here today to fill in for Mayor Wild, who unfortunately was called out of town. He really doesn't know what he's missing, and I have the privilege of sitting next to Mayor Bing, and I appreciate that, so I will thank him when I get back to the office. I want to welcome you on behalf of the mayor, and he sends out a special welcome to Mayor Dave Bing, to Western Wayne County, to the City of Livonia, on behalf of the City of Westland. This is the first time that the Westland Chamber of Commerce and the Livonia Chamber of Commerce have actually come together to do a joint luncheon like this. And so my hats are off to the two chambers for doing that. And I'd like to give a round of applause for the two directors over here, Dan West and Brooke Allen. This is truly something, I was involved in the chamber years ago on the board, and I think that this is just great momentum for the city, or for the Westland Chamber moving forward in doing these joint events with the City of Livonia. So once again, congratulations to you, and I hope everybody enjoys your afternoon. Thank you.
And now for some welcome comments on behalf of the City of Livonia, and for the formal introduction of Mayor Bing, here's the Honorable Jackie Kirksey, the Mayor of the City of Livonia.
First of all, I will never be able to generate this kind of audience, so I think Mayor Bing will appreciate the fact that I'm going to do my State of the City speech now. I'm sure you won't take great exception with that, and hopefully you won't be too disappointed as well. It's one heck of a speech, and I think you're going to enjoy it. On a far more serious note, we are tremendously honored to have Mayor Bing here with us in Livonia. And I know that you all feel the same way and that you're looking forward to his remarks. I usually do not prepare anything, but we did prepare something because here is somebody that comes in our midst who's had such a rich background and has contributed so much. But when I got here, unbeknownst to me, all the biog was in your program, so please take those home, stick them on the refrigerator door, and read all of the great stuff that Dave Bing has done in his life, things that I think the average person would need to live to be 150 years or something to get where he is at this point in time and what he has given back. Obviously, we've talked about his times in sports, and accolades and great skill that he brought to that sport, integrity that he brought to it. We know he's in the political arena right now and in very, very difficult, challenging times, but also in the biog pay special focus because many of you are involved in the business world, that he also is a very successful entrepreneur and business person. So to his credentials and to his understanding and the way that he is able to put the pieces together, he has that important background. One other thing that we might just add quickly is that I did have a chance to meet Mayor Bing when he was campaigning with Kirk Lewis. Ken Hale and I went in Detroit. We had lunch with him, and I don't understand a lot about politics, but I do understand how to get elected. And so he was He was kind enough to pretend that he was interested in what I had to say, and much to his credit, he didn't follow my advice, and he got elected. And we're very proud that he did. Obviously, without exception, the core city is important to all of us. It's important to the state of Michigan, but especially those of us that live in close proximity. So we have a man in our midst who is there to do the job, and if anybody can get it done, he can. He's a guy that grew up in almost all of his endeavors, whether it be business or whatever. Teamwork was the key, essential ingredient to make it work. And we have a gentleman here that certainly is doing his best to instill that into the culture that he works in each day, because he needs people to come to him, to team with him, to support him, and everything will move forward. I'm tremendously honored to have this opportunity to introduce to you Mayor Dave Bing, City of Detroit. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the introduction, Jack. I do truly appreciate that. And let me say to all of you in the audience this afternoon, thank you so very much for being here. As I look behind me and I see the sponsors for this occasion, I'm intimately involved, or have been over a period of time, with Madonna, with NYX, with Chain, and with Cambridge. The fourth, I don't know much about Parkside, but if you want to talk about what you can do in Detroit afterwards, I'll be more than happy to do that, because our credit rating is not where it needs to be. I want to give just a few brief comments about the city and what we're going through, and try to be as brief as I can with that, because I would much rather answer questions that you may have, and I'm sure in the brief comments that I may make, I would leave out a lot of questions or answers to questions that you may have. Let me say that I've now been in office for 37 months, but nobody's really counting. When I was first elected back in May of '09, it was said by many pundits that within the next 90 to 120 days, we're going to have payless paydays. And we're now in our 37th month, and thank God that the judge ruled in our favor. We will not have a payless payday coming up in the next couple of weeks. You know, I had a lot of people question my sanity as I made the decision for this particular job. And believe me, there are days when I question myself also. But as I look back in retrospect, having been in the city of Detroit for, over 40 years, and grew to love Detroit and its people, it was obvious to me what had happened in the last administration didn't leave any of us feeling good about our city or its leadership. And, I was on the downside of a career where it was time for me to kind of kick back, lay back, and enjoy life. But I had a few close friends that convinced me that I was the right person at the right time to take on the challenge. None of them are my friends today. But on a serious note, I thought I knew what the challenge was. I thought I could make a difference. And I knew that there were a lot of things that needed to change to bring Detroit back to its greatness.